Hello, 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 everyone. How are we all tonight? Well, tonight for me, maybe not so much for you. Hello and welcome to, yes, this is a live stream tutorial in Unreal Engine 4. If you don't know how it works, each week I do a live stream and it's on a rotating schedule. So this week we're looking at a live UE4 tutorial, and in particular we're looking at how to do ladders. Now how these work is I go into these semi-blind, so I have an idea in my head how to approach the problem, but by and large I'm going across it live. And what that means is that then you get to see me stumble, me fall, and pick myself back up again. So you'll see the mistakes I make and how I fix them, how I bug fix and tweak things as I go. But by and large, I'm going to show you how to do certain things. So as I said, today we're going to look at ladders. Now, not just any old ladders, we're going to actually do something quite clever. We're going to try and create a procedural ladder, and what I mean by that is we'll be able to create a smart object that would be determine the height of a ladder, and it will generate a height of that height in a model and also in its functionality. So it's going to be split into two things. We've got the first problem we've got is getting the actual asset to appear to the right height that we want it to, based on a value that the designer will put in, and then also adding in the actual climbable functionality of the ladder. Now, like with all my tutorials, this is not the only way to accomplish this task. There are many ways to accomplish a ladder climbing. In particular with first-person games like the one I'm going to do today, it's a lot simpler than, say, a third-person character one. In a third-person character one, I want to try and do another whole video series on that one because that involves a lot more work, because you have to do root motion animation, ideally, or IK animations, which are a bit more hard work. So that will be reserved for a future series down the line. But for tonight, we're looking at first-person characters. I do have chat up on the second screen here, so if you want to have any questions or suggestions for fixes I'll come across, by all means throw them up in the chat, and I'm happy to answer them as much as I can. If I do miss your question, it's not because I'm ignoring you, it's just because my eyes are focused on the other screen as I am working things out. So yeah, but just keep asking questions over and over again. So without further ado, let's get started. So as I said, I go into these things pretty blind, but I do the smallest amount of prep, in the sense that I've made some basic assets to use for tonight. So rather than simply modelling it, wasting time doing that, I've just made them already. So I put them here, and I've made a modular ladder system basically, and I think everything here will do just fine. Okay. Yep, that's fine. Okay, so the ladder comes in two parts. I've got this mesh, which is a step, okay, and I've got this bit, which is the top, the cap, okay. So we'll be using these two to create a procedural ladder. So let's create a ladder blueprint class. So I'm going to go actor and go call it ladder. And in here, we're going to add those two static meshes. So static mesh, well, only one of them at the moment. So this would be the base mesh. And the base mesh is going to use the ladder step. So the first step of the ladder, basically. Like so. Let's just put that into the world so we can see how we're looking for scale. Yeah, okay, I'm happy with that. That's a good, decent size. Cool. Okay, so the idea is that what we do is we create a variable which we can change on a slider or something like that, and it will change the height of the mesh. So I'm going to create that variable now, and we'll call it ladder height, and we'll make that a float. Actually, no, we'll do integer because it will be a number of steps we want to use, so we'll do integer. And we'll make that editable because we need to change it inside the editor. I'm going to click compile, and the default value it's going to be is 1. Okay, so this first step here. Okay. So on the construction script, this is where the magic's going to happen to create the ladder height. And what we're doing here is we're taking this variable here, the ladder height, and choosing get, and this is going to go into a for loop, and like so. So it will be the last index, not the first. So the first index is 0. Then on each one, we're going to add static mesh component. I'm going to choose a ladder step body bit and leave it like so. So the transform is what's going to change. So the transform here, I can split this. Oh, I'll right click and split. And I've got the location, rotation, and scale. So the location is the thing I'm going to change in a Z. And so I want to take the height of this mesh. So if I open up the mesh, I can see here my stats on the left hand side. I can see the height, and its height is going to be, it'll be 53. Okay, so in here I want to times the location of the Z by the index and 53. So index multiplied by float 53, and we're going to just split that transform there and put that into the Z. Okay, so if I drag this into the world now, you can see it's already done something. If I increase the height, you can see it will now generate the steps of the ladder. So I've got one step and it goes all the way up to however high I want my ladder to be. Pretty cool, eh? So the next bit is then to add the cap onto the end of this ladder to whatever we like. So back onto my construction script. So after we've added the steps, this is what that's doing. We're going to use the completed pin here to add the cap onto it. So I'm going to go to add static mesh component, and what we can do here, what we can do here is add static mesh, and we're going to choose the ladder cap. Cool. And I'm going to split the transform, gets the location, and so the location is going to be the ladder height variable that we got. So I'll drag that out and get, and we want to multiply that by 50. Oh no, sorry, you have to add 1 to it first of all. Add 1, and then multiply that by 53 in the float. So we're adding an extra step on the end of this, essentially, and that is going to make it add the cap right on top of it, like so. I have to compile, and now you can see it adds the cap. So if the designer of the level is making the level, they will simply just drag this ladder into the world, if they want it to be, like so, and then they just got to customize the height. If it's a bit too high, like the steps go a bit above, a bit below, just lower it down manually, like so. But it allows them to make their own ladders without making like 1,000 different types of heights of ladders. You ideally want to do stuff like that in a procedural way, such as this. I use the same technique to make fences and things like that. But some big games also do it to make whole entire cities. We've done a very basic one here for our ladder. So that's the ladder object. Then the next thing to do is to do a volume, because we need a volume. Basically, the way ladders work is you have a volume that hovers in front of the ladder, and this volume will determine the sort of climbing space for the ladder. Because the mesh is doing nothing, it's just a visual representation of the ladder. It's the volume that's going to do all the magic bit. So we need to make a volume, and that's going to be a box collision, and we'll call this the climbing volume, like so. And the climbing volume is like here. So I'm just going to put this first starting point like so. Now, this whole thing is a bit tricky, because if I was just to increase the size of this one, for example, if I just increase the Z, you'll notice it goes below the ladder as well as above it. So what I want to do is keep, when I'm scaling it, I also want to keep it sort of in the center of the whole entire mesh. So if I just reset that back to its default, we need to change it. I'll just move it a little bit that way. We need to change it so it is moved, first of all, to the center of the ladder. So let's do that in the construction script. And construction script is, if I haven't explained it, it allows you to do what you're seeing here, where you can change stuff as things are being updated or loaded into the game. So it's very useful for creating procedural stuff, such as this. And it works just like anything else. You can have multiple functions added to it as well. It has its own variable system, local variables, and so on and so forth. So what I'm going to do here is break this into functions. So here I'm going to select all that and right click and collapse the function. And the function I'm going to call is generate ladder mesh. And the benefit of doing that is I've got now loads of space to do other stuff. So I can function here and create a new function called generate climbing volume. So another benefit of having it as a function is to answer Miss Jawa's question about how to pick up the ladder and place it into another location, like in Last of Us. If you picked up a ladder, you can store the value of its ladder height, and then when you place it back down to the world, you just call this function again and it will regenerate its height. So if you want to move the ladder in the game, you just pick it up, and as long as you store the value of the ladder height, you can, when you place it back down, you just call this function again and it'll pop up. Yeah. So we've got generate climbing volume. I'm just going to add it to that list here and go into it. Okay, so let's first of all move it to the into the center of the height of this actor. So there is a thing called bounds volume. No, get local bounds, get bounds, get roundabout bounding box, blah, 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 blah. Get actor bounds. There you go. So get actor bounds. This should give us the bounding box of all the components that make up this actor. So that's the whole height of it. Okay. So my chat not working on that screen, but hopefully hopefully chat's still working. Okay. So we've got the origin, we've got box extent. So for example, if I was to go and move our climbing volume, set location and set world location, and it'll be the get world location of the climbing volume already, and adding on this box extent. I think we may have to split that in two. I can't remember if it is half already or not. So let's actually make it so we can actually view the climbing volume. So if I change it to not hidden in game and put that out like so. So it's over there. Okay, so we've got to, oh yeah, we only want to add the Z of it. So if I get that there, split this and split this, just add the Z. Compile. Okay, so what is that doing? It doesn't look exactly in the middle, so what's gone wrong there? Let's just change its height a bit so we can see what it's doing. Okay. So it is moving according to the thing, but its offset is incorrect. I'm going to assume that it's get world location is what's screwing it up. So if I just disconnect that for now and click compile, what does that look like? Okay, so it sets it over in 0, 0. Okay, so 0, 0 is putting it over there. So I do want to get the get world location. Maybe I just want to add the X and Y to it and not the Z. Possibly. But no, I want the relative location of itself. Tricky. Okay, hang on. Let's disconnect that for now. Compile. Right, that puts it back to the center. So that should be at the bottom. So why is that being funny about that? Let's divide that by 2. See what's happening there. Oh, did I not hook it back up? No. Yeah, it's definitely not centering it, is it? Okay. Well, if we can't do the bounds volume, maybe that's what's breaking it up. Let's do something else. Let's get the ladder height multiplied by 53. Let's do it as a float in case it gets a bit funny. Multiplied by a float. So 53, which is the height of each step. And divide that by 2. To get the middle point. We'll add that onto there like so. And so ladder height. 0. Relative location. Okay. Oh, no, not that one. This one. Set relative location. Oh, shit. Okay, not so. There. Oh, no. Get. See how that looks. No, let's try that with the world location here instead. Get world location. Did I hook something up? Where'd it go? Ah, it's over there. Get world. There we go. Is that halfway? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, close enough. We'll use that. We'll see how that goes. So here we don't need that, and we don't need that. We can just split this. Oh, hello. Cool. Okie dokie. So relative location. What relative location does, it changes the location of a component based on its parent. So the climbing volume is going to change its location based on the default scene route. So it keeps the location and all that stuff of the default scene route and just adds it basically onto it, or takes it away, whatever it is. So now we've got that in sort of center. We'll see how that tweak. We'll have to tweak that a little bit. but we've got it sort of center. We now need to tell it to change its scale. So its scale here, we're going to go set scale, and we can set do world scale or relative scale. Doesn't really actually no, we want relative scale, because then if you were to scale the ladder, you want this to scale with it. So if you scale this, we want to scale the Z value by, let's just try ladder height, see how that looks first of all. A lot of it's just playing around, see what happens. Very Bob Ross type of approach. So we've got, oh, it's because I turned it by 0. Ooh. 1, 1. Okay. Yeah, okay. Not too bad, not too bad. Okay, so on the ladder here, we want to change its location in the X as well by 10. Let's try that. Yeah, so it puts it out just in front. Okay dokie, so to test this out, we can change the height of the ladder, and the height of the box should also increase, which it does. Yeah, okay. Multiply the value of ladder height for the value of the unit you set. Yes, I did. We mean for this P30 virus. This is what a bit talking about. The ladder height. In any case, we got it working. So the ladder, we've got this volume. I'm just going to increase its size in the Y a little bit. Not Y. Oh, we can't. We have to do it in here. In the X. Yeah, alright, yeah, there we go, we left that. Cool, right, so we've got that volume and now above this, going along this ladder. And we can customize its height procedurally in the game engine. Cool. So looking at this, the way we've got it set up with the system here is we need to add that extra cap onto it. Okay. So what we need to do is just add 1 to this ladder height here, and add 1, and over here add 1 to this one here, because we are adding that extra cap on the end there, and that should hopefully make it a little bit better. We'll carry on and see how that works. We may have to add it a little bit higher so we can get up and over stuff, but for now, let's see how that works when we start adding. We'll add the actual climbing to it. Okay, so let's get working on that. So the way the climbing is going to work is we want to determine whether or not the player is in that climbing volume first of all. So I'm going to click on my climbing volume component and right click here and begin overlap. Add a component, begin overlap. And when we add this component onto it, there's a couple of ways I want to try and do this one. The first one is using a custom movement node and see how that works. If that doesn't work, there's another way we could do it, but that would be the neatest way of doing it. So on component begin overlap, we need to set a new custom mode on our character movement. So first of all, let's make a custom character movement mode. So what I mean by character movement modes is on your player character, if you click on character movement component, you have different modes available to you. So you have walking, for example, jumping, falling, swimming, flying, and then we have a custom one. and the custom one is you decide what that's going to be doing and what features it has and so forth. So to create a custom mode, what you do is we're going to right click here and go to blueprints and add a new enumeration. And this is going to be a list of all the custom modes you have. We're going to only have one in here, but if you're doing the whole game, you may have a few. So custom movement modes, and I'm going to go in there and add one. And this one's going to be called climbing. Save. So now I've got that climbing mode in there. I'm going to go and add that to our ladder as a movement node. So what we're going to do is access our first person character and tell their player just tell them to change different modes. So if we go into other actor here and cast to first person character, and then as first person character we can I can't remember which way it goes now. Let's just type it in and see what happens. Movement mode. There you go, set character movement mode. So get the character movement and you set the movement mode here. So we're going to set the movement mode to a custom one in the drop down box, and we're going to tell which custom mode we want to use. So we're going to go and add a new variable here, and we're going to do this one as movement mode, and the variable type is that enumerator we just made. So we're going to go custom movement modes. I'm going to drag that out and choose get and plug that into there like so. When I compile this, the movement mode here, I can choose what movement mode it's going to be using, and I'm going to say climbing. So this is basically telling the character movement component on our player character that their movement mode is now a custom one and it's called climbing. So if I go to my first person character now, when that happens it will trigger an event. So if I go into, I can't remember exactly what they call it, but we can type in movement update, and it is this one, event update custom movement. So on here we've got custom movement like so. On here, try and remember what I'll do now. We've got right, yeah. So when we update the custom movement node, this is going to hang on. Let me just hover the mouse over it. See what the come on. If ever implemented, not useful at all. Okay, so we've got this update custom movement mode. That's going to trigger. When that does trigger, we're going to then say our what we're going to say. Let's just test if that actually works first of all. Print string, and we'll go and get character movement, get movement mode, and get custom movement mode, and plug that in like so. So if I walk now into there, get index 0, which is what we want. It's the first one in the list, so it's 0. And if I delete that, so once I walked into there, I stopped moving. So we have to tell it some movement information in that point. I'm just realizing now this may be a stupid way of doing it because it may be easier. Just thinking. Yes. Screw it. We won't do the custom movement mode. I'm not too up on it, so I'm not going to try risking it. But you can do it that way. I'm pretty sure you can. But we'll do something a bit different. We'll delete that, and we're going to first person character. I'll add a variable called is climbing, and when we drag into the ladder, we're going to set is climbing to true. Likewise, if we exit the overlap and overlap, we want to do exactly the same, but make it false. Hi, Innocent Baraka. Hi, Cal47. Thanks for joining us. It is currently, 38 minutes past midnight here too. Right, so click climbing. What's wrong with this? Oh, I did not compile it. There you go. Okay. Okay. So we've got that. So the trick now is with this move forward thing, we're not going to be adding movement input as normal here. If we are climbing. Okay, so if we're climbing, it's going to be branching off of this and do something different. So let's get his climbing up and go get his climbing and put that into a branch. So if climbing is false, we just want it to carry on doing what it normally does. And likewise with move right here, I'm going to tell it not to be able to move right if it is climbing. So if it's climbing, get into a branch is false. It'll carry on doing that as well. So on its true, we are going to change the movement input slightly. So we're going to still do add movement input, but the movement input is going to change its world direction. So world direction is going to be just 1 in the Z, and the scale value is going to be the axis value there. Okay, and we'll click compile. Let's just see what happens. So apologies for that loud. Okay, I get stuck. The reason why I get stuck is because I have to change my movement mode. So if I go into my character blueprint and no, it's going to ladder blueprint. As first person character, we're going to get the character movement. Can't see what I'm typing, probably spelling it wrong. Get their component and we're going to change it to flying mode. Set movement mode to flying. And with this bottom one, you're going to change the movement mode to falling. Let's try that out. Oh, almost worked first time. So up I go, climbing. Pretty much there. I just want to tweak that going up a little bit, and we're good, I think. So it kind of is kind of floaty. So I want to turn its tell its movement to be locked to just the vertical rather than horizontal. So I just need to take a little drink. Okay. Let's just have a look at chat, see what people are saying. Yeah, my birthday stream. My birthday is on the 16th, so that's what, Wednesday. So yeah, a few days away. Come join me. I'll be live streaming at 10 o'clock GMT time, so 2 hours earlier than tonight. Yeah, I'll be just chilling out, playing games with you guys. Something a bit low key, simple, chat, simple like that. Just playing video games. Thanks for all the support, everyone. Thank you for the kind words. I'm glad you like the channel and like what I do. P30 virus. I haven't tried CryEngine, no. Or Lumberyard, whatever it's called nowadays. No, I haven't tried it out. I've heard mixed things from it. But no, before Unreal, I messed around with Unity and I messed around with GameMaker Studio probably the most. Pretty much know that engine inside and out. Okay. So, right. I need to first of all lock the movement down so it's just in the vertical. So if I go into my character blueprint, we'll do something similar to what we did in our clamber video. So on a catch movement, there is a setting here, and I always forget what it's called, about locking down their movement plane. And it's around here somewhere. Planar movement, constrained to plane. So we have to tell it constrained to plane, and we're going to tell it to constrain just to the Z. Okay. Okie dokie. So we'll drag that out here and just do it on here. Okay, so from catch movement, we're going to go set constrain, plane constraint enabled true, and then set plane axis setting, no, constrain normal, sorry. And I think we just put in 1 in the Z. I believe that's what we do. It's been a while since I made that video. Plug that back in there, delete that. Turn that off and plug that in to this target. Compile, play, and no, well, I've done something wrong there. Totally missed it up. So normal the plane that constrains movement enforced if the plane constraint is enabled. Change normal automatically sets the plane constraint axis setting to custom. So normalized value, I'm pretty sure it was. The normal or axis of the plane that constrains movement. If, for example, if you want to constrain the plane to X, Y, X, Z plane, so Y 0, 1, 0. Oh, it's the other way around. So you constrain. It's 1, 1. That's where I went wrong. Oh. Not very constrained. Still very, very flowy. It's like it's like I'm hitting like a invisible wall almost. Ooh. It's kind of fun though. Okay, let's have a look. See, I think rethink this. So, what I may want to do instead is go to the flying settings here. Let's have a look and change what's going on here. So max fly speed 600. Let's turn it down to 300 to see what that does. Oh, let's have a look. See what happens with that. I'm going to disconnect that sound because it's quite annoying. Yeah, we are getting there. It's just a bit bastard. Don't like the way the physics work with the flying. It's too shite. That's what it is. Right, I'm going to change it. So rather than add movement input, we're going to set world location. Not set world location. Set actor location. Let's see what it works with like this. New location is, let's drag the spot out here. We're going to get the actor location. Split that. Split that. And I'm going to add a float and add that to that. And let's just leave it as, let's put it as 3 and see what that does. Oh, oh yeah, I've got to hook up the oh, has it crashed? Oh. Let's wait for Unreal to stop being busted. Oh, I think it's going to crash. No, we're good. Okay. Okay. So we've got to hook these ones up as well. Hit compile. And oh. Kind of works. Still not very constrained. So I don't know why it feels like it's like yeah, it just feels like there's a massive like invisible wall around it for some reason. Let's have a look what that could possibly be. This box collision is just a collision box, it doesn't have any actual stuff towards it. So go up into it. Okay. So I don't want to set its movement mode to flying, I don't think. Let's just see what happens. I think I may have to just turn the physics off on the character so they can go up. Yeah, see, like it's stopping me from. Why the hell is it doing that? Yeah, see, the collision box is going that way, so it shouldn't affect it. And that one's just a box, so no idea why that's being. Let's have a look at this. Overlap all dynamic, yeah. Right, let's turn that off for now. Okay, and let's just turn it all off. I just want to make sure I can actually walk through the damn box. Yeah, it just felt really like. Maybe it's just because my capsule is quite large. Let's just connect that bloody sound effect. Turn it off. Okay. So we can't do the flying method, I think, because the flying method is going to apply a load of weird physics to our character, which we don't want. We just want him to raise up when we push the W key and go down when we push the S key. So if I am pushing up on the key, I need to turn physics off on the character. So if we set physics, helps I can spell physics, enable physics. What do they call it? I forget. Simulate physics. No, not, yeah, simulate physics. It's got physics in this way. Catch movement. It'll be catch movement and run it. It'll be gravity. If I turn gravity off, maybe. So gravity scale. Set gravity scale to 0. And let's see what that does. So there's a lot of experimentation. Did I not hook it back up? No. Oh. Yeah. Well, there's gravity turned off here. But this isn't working. So let's just do a print string on the end of this. Okay, so that's working. So what's keeping me on the floor? Ba, 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 ba. So I'm just reading all the things. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe flying was the right answer. Let's turn back to flying. At least I went up with flying. No. Set mode to flying. Okay. I've still got set gravity in there. Nope. So why am I flying upwards? Oh, bloody programming. Sorry, guys. Did tell you it'd be weird moments like this. At least the first half went smoothly. Why is it doing that? Oh, wait, I know why. It's because this is triggering all the time. If you don't know, move forward triggers all the time. It's like a tick. So what we do with this is we multiply this. Or if we just say if we put it into a branch. We'll get movement input. No, what was it called? Get move forward. Get move forward. And this returns whether or not they are moving the stick up or down or whatever they use. So we're going to do in there and say if it's not equal to 0, in other words, it's moving. It'll do that. And we want to multiply this value. We'll worry about that later. I just want to go down the ladder. For now, just get working, going up. Okay. Okay, we're getting there. So obviously got to turn off the climbing. So if I go in here, and, oh, hello. Climb. Okay. Oh, hello. Didn't mean to do that. Just close these. So don't worry, there will be a recap of this at the end, as well as the archive of this footage will be up for patrons tonight or tomorrow morning, and be up for everyone else in 2 weeks' time. Let's give it that picture. We don't need that now. So let's hook up the demount of the ladder. So it sets moving mode to falling and turns off plane constraint. Yeah, Kim. So plane constraint prevents movement in the X and Y axis. Yes, in this case, because I gave it fully in the X and fully in the Y as constrained. So it's got free movement in the Z only. Although it doesn't seem to be the case entirely when I want it to be, which is frustrating. Could we get kind of movement? It kind of like pushes me out of the box for some weird reason. I have no idea why. If I just tap it. See what I mean? Somebody's pushing me this way. I have no idea what. And that was me not pushing any keys. So what the hell is pushing me that way? Right, let's get moving down the ladder then. Let's get that. That I know I can do. So from here, we're going to multiply this float by our get move forward, because it'll be -1 if we're going down and 1 if we're going up. So if I put in that in there, it means it reverses it, the movement for the climbing. So if I go, let's just go on this side, up and down. Oh, hello. Very wrong. What happened there? So up. I'm so confused. Why is it doing that? Multiplied by get move forward. Add 3. Oh. I'm stupid. Right, let's make a variable called climb rate. And that float is going to store the value of how much we climb. In this case, it could be 3. That's what we've done here. And we can make it add the climb rate there. Before it does that though, we are going to get the climb rate and multiply that by this move forward, and that will be the one we add, because that's the thing we want to change, the climb rate, not its location. Exciting thing. So up and down. So we've got the climbing bit working. It's just this weird collision problem. See, that works through there. What is that? It's like it bounces off there, but what is going on? Is there a mode here that I can see collision on? Whilst I'm scratching my head, let's have a look at the chat here. Innocent Baraka, static mesh raycast vehicle tutorial. What do you mean by raycast vehicle tutorial? Raycast vehicle. There's a vehicle project already up by Epic. Check that out if you want. It's pretty good. Let me know what we mean by raycast. Oh wait, you said going down it. It's a vehicle based on line trace, and you set mesh instead of a skeletal mesh. Do you mean, Innocent Baraka, that it's a vehicle that changes its position based on various line traces? Because I've done something similar to that before with hover bikes. I made a hover bike change its angle and rotation based on 2 line traces, one from the front and one from the back. So it attempted to keep a certain distance away from the floor. So if you went up a hill, the front bit would raise up a lot more than the back bit. If that's what you mean, I don't know. Sean Becker, does the scaling of the climbing volume on the Z-axis scale it up and down as well as on the Z-axis? Yes, it does. Mist, please make a Destiny-style loot box tutorial. What do you mean by the loot box? Do you mean like it dropping a thing that you have to turn in and it'll generate a random item for you? Is that what you mean? If you give me more details of what you want, that'd be great to hear what you like to say. I'm always looking for more ideas for future videos. Right, I don't know if it's going to show me collision because this looks like this looks like it would. It's bouncing the balls off for some god knows reason, and I don't know why. Like that thing isn't a like this box has no collision. It's an overlap. So in Zabraka, you've said set the box collision to custom and set the dynamic to ignore. We don't want it to ignore dynamic though because we need it to detect the player walking over it. So if I was to change it to custom, like you suggest, and I told it to it's overlapping everything you see here. Oh wait, it blocks projectiles. That's why it's blocking the projectile. Right, okay, well that understands that. So why the hell is it blocking me? That makes no goddamn sense. Bastard thing. It's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like forcing me away from it, like a force field. It's like when you have two magnets, the wrong ends facing each other. It feels like that. Missed. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. That sounds like a good one to do. We could do that video. Sean, come back again. Sorry, it didn't make any sense. I meant, does scaling the climbing volume, does it scale up and down at the same time? Yes, because the pivot point of it's in the center of its volume, it'll scale up and down. So what we do, we readjust the center of the volume to be in the center of the ladder. Hello. Okay, interesting. So going down makes you can go through the floor. I don't understand this bloody box thing. It's really confusing me. It's something to do with this because if I turn this off, I can walk through it. Let's see what part of it causes it to break. So if I change it, turn it off there, can I walk through it now? Yeah, no, see, I can't. So it's not that part that's breaking it. Is it the end overlap that's breaking it? Oh. Is it the end overlap that's broken it? Can I walk through it? No, I've still got some weirdness going there. But if I disconnect both, it's fine. What do you mean? My head's hurting. Disconnect that and that. So it's doing it there. Turn that off. I know why it's doing it. I know. Okay, so the issue is actually on the first person character. So the reason why I was doing that is because our move forward here, as soon as we turn these climbing on, it's no longer adding movement input forwards because we are doing this thing instead. So what I wanted to do is still allow the add movement input forwards. So what I'll do is we'll put this on the other side and see what that does. So if that's false, we'll do that. Turn on the other things that were turned off. Turn that back on. Oh. So it's conflicting with the add movement input. Okay. So this is the issue. It's doing this nonsense. Right, let's just move this along here, because I'm worried that that is not a good method to do. So I'm going to go add movement input again over here. If it's true, I'm going to add movement input to the Z of 1. And the scale value will be this thing here. Okay, let's try it that way, because that's the way I wanted to do it originally. Sodding thing. It does that acceleration thing, I think. I think that's what that is. Let's just try turning the walking, not walking thing, the acceleration stuff down. Flying. So that's 0. That'll do it. Gives me nothing now. What would be a good solution to this? I really didn't think this would be that much of a problem. Yeah, ladders are a pain in all games. That's why all games do it differently. Okay, I think I've got a method. So if I set... No, it's not what I want to do though. I will figure it out. It's just a matter of banging my head against the wall enough times. So bear with me. Okay. So if I'm touching it, I want to go up it. See, this all will change drastically because I'm thinking ahead. Because when you push up on the either gamepad or W on the keyboard, you'll want to go up the ladder. But if you push down, if you want to go down the ladder, if you're not touching the floor, but if you are touching the floor, you want to walk away from the ladder. So that's going to change a lot of this. Not ideally what I would like to do. Um, It's this flying bollocks. I don't like the flying stuff. It's nothing to do with the box now, Innocent. It's about the act of getting it to go up and down correctly, whilst using these inputs differently based on its location. Okay. Let's do this. Go up. Let me push the S key. I want to go down, but let's just go up for now. Okay, so playing the game, go up the ladder. I mean, it's not too bad, really. Let's first of all fix the height of this thing. Let's just add another bit of height to this. So, construction graph, generate climbing volume, and let's add another one to the ladder height there. So it groups up a little bit above. Come on. Push me up. A bit more. Ooh, okay. I'm just going to add then, because this thing's going to now dip below the level a bit. Where was it? Let's do another one by 4 then. I'm going to get above it like that, so we can see. Oh, it's sodding thing. Climb, climb, climb. It's really shite, but it kind of works. It's not how I'd like it though. Alright, so I need to rethink this. I've got to basically make my own movement system because the built-in one is too limited. Right. Okay. It's moving on ground. That's a nav mesh thing. I don't want nav mesh. Is fallen. No, that's not what I want either. Nope. Right. Really didn't think it'd be this difficult. We will solve it though. We will figure it out. What if the ladder is what propels the thing climbing it? No, I don't like that too much either. I still think I need to change this setup. So to recap, those who have just joined us, we're making a ladder system. Currently, we've got a ladder system in place where we can manage to get to procedural, so we can customize the height of the ladder, and it will generate a ladder for us. Now we're stuck on the actual part of getting it to climb the ladder. We've got it semi-working, but it's not good enough. So we're working on that solution now. It is driving me round the bend. It's quite late. My head hurts. So we're trying to figure this one out as a pain in the butt. Right. I'm going to disconnect the move forwards here and just do one from scratch over here. And let's see what we can do with this. So normally we're going to do add movement input. So we add movement input and it's a scale value as axis like that. And the world direction is the direction it's facing in. So I can get the camera, get rotation, and get forward vector from that, and that'll give me my direction I want to go in. So that makes me move forwards all the time, so I can test that out and see. It makes me move forwards. So with that in mind, when I'm climbing, I'm in the climbing mode, when I'm pushing forwards, I want to we want to change it to go up. So if I go is climbing, after we add the movement input forwards, we're going to get is climbing and put that into branch. I don't think there's any reason why you can't move forwards first and then go up. I don't see why that wouldn't be a thing you couldn't do. We'll see. So add movement input and then be just in the Z, and the scale value is this thing again. Click compile and test that out. So I can walk. It's that weird bubble thing it does. I think it's because the flying mode is shite. It gives me acceleration. I don't want fucking acceleration. Oh, you stupid thing. Pardon my language. Hang on, let me just Google it. I'm going to see if I can find a solution for the acceleration of flying. Turn off acceleration. See if other people have done it. Flying. Otherwise, it looks like we're creating a movement mode. Yes, we'll need the flying mode activated because, which we're doing here. Oh, here, sorry, because that turns off the gravity of the character, so you're able to move upwards. Otherwise, gravity will just keep knocking you down. So, for example, if I turn that out, it will just keep making me fall to the floor. Like so. I think the falling thing is what's breaking making the bubble like effect where I'm walking and it's sliding off of it. No. It's so infuriating. Turn that off. Why? It's like a force field. Why can't I walk through this damn bloody thing? I wonder if that's what's screwing me up. If I turn that off and turn this off, compile. I've got it disconnected. I should just walk right through it because that's the default settings. So, yep, I can walk right through it. So what the hell is causing that to happen? So let's just turn on this. Again, that shouldn't do anything because climbing's false anyway. Okay, fine, I can walk into it. But let's say I enter begin overlap to that and just turn it off so climbing becomes true. And I can still get inside this sort of volume. So that's true. Plug that in. Flying is now activated. Turn off constraints. And I think that worked. Obviously, I'm really further flying. I don't think it pushed me out. No, I don't think it did. So that works. So is it a constraint that's doing it? So every time we come across a bug, it's sort of this like process of trying to figure out what is the cause of the bug. So I can't move left and right, but I can move up. Okay. And so that looked like it worked. Oh, that didn't. So that was the issue. The constraint is the issue. What is that? Let's turn the constraint off for now. So it's the constraint that's messing me up. Okay, let's turn that off then and put this back on. Let's see what that looks like. I think I'm still flying. Yeah. Do I have something else connected? Oh yeah, there we go. Got that. Get stuck on the top. Why am I getting stuck on the top? I'm still inside the thing. Or is it when it's when the camera goes in the volume, isn't it? No. No, because I'm outside the volume there. It should be still in the volume. Okay, so we're pretty much there. It's just this last little bit. It's a bit of a shiter. Okay, I'm going to turn collision off on the meshes of our ladder. So on the cap here, let's just remove collision. So play and see if that's what's causing it. Up and over. So that's what was causing it. Okay. So we've got climbing. So it's just when I move down, I don't want it to move away from the ladder, I just want it to move down the ladder. And I want it to not do that when I'm not pushing any keys. So I can set its velocity, I guess. So if I go into the first person character, I'm adding movement import like that. I can set velocity. Ooh, set velocity. It's not going to let me use it. Right, pretty much done it. Okay, let's velocity. Set velocity. So set velocity is going to be going to. We need to check if we're actually pushing any key. So if I get the move forward value and multiply that by our current velocity, multiply a vector by float and set that into our new velocity. So if we're not touching the keyboard or sticks, whatever, this will be 0. So if you multiply that velocity by 0, velocity will be 0. So it should stop moving if I am not pushing any keys. Which is what it does. Hallelujah. So climbing works. So all we have to do, the last thing we have to do is get it to go down. Don't worry, I will go through all of this in a second. Right, let's get the down working. Okay, so if I'm climbing and movement input is what I want to do is not do this if its climbing is false. So what we're going to do here is we only want to do that if it's negative. So if that's positive, it'll do that. Right, okay. So if we put this at the end of the branch like so, and plug that in there. So if it's true, it'll do the movement and then do all this. If it's false, I still want to do the same thing. So drag that down here. So I can still walk about when I'm not climbing still. So it goes there, the scale value goes there. But if I'm climbing, let's just give myself some space. If I'm climbing, so this true branch here, I don't want to do this if scale value is negative. So what can we do here? We can do the absolute value for this and plug it into scale there. But I've got a feeling that will go up even if I push down because it'll make it a positive. So up, down. Kind of, but I think that's just because it's just pure luck. Okay. Scale value. Oh no, leave it as 1. There we go. Done. No, we don't. No, we don't want to do that. All right, then another branch it is. Put that across there. I can delete all this old stuff. We don't want that. Delete. Right, need another branch. Plug that into true. That to true. And we're going to go, rather than drag loads of these about, I'm just going to get move forward. And if it is greater than or equal to, just do greater than 0, it will do this. So if it's greater than 0, it'll do this malarkey. If it's not greater than 0, i.e. Negative, actually let's make it greater than or equal to, greater than or equal to 0. So if it is just negative, so this is the false, yeah, we're going to make it go down the ladder, not up. So let's just move all that up across like so. Again, I don't like lines going everywhere, so I'm just going to move that and plug that into there like that. And I'm just going to duplicate that. Put that up here. And that down there. Okay, so we've got that bit working. So now we've got the false. So the false part is if I push down on the keyboard, I don't want it to go forwards and up. I want it so it can do something else. I don't know, I'm very tired. Totally gone blank. So if I push down, I don't want it to do that, I just want it to do this. So if I wonder if I just put that there, like so. I wonder if that will work. Let's have a look. So I still want it to go up and down the ladder, I just don't want it to go forwards and back. It kind of works. It's just really slow and shite. I wonder if that's going up fast because it's just moving forwards as well as up. I don't know. So why is that being extra slow going down? That makes no sense. Not a clue about that one. No clue about that one. Let me go back to chat and see what's going on here while my brain kind of digests what the hell's going on. So the issue with the collision mesh thing there was the constraints. So it was actually applying constraints before it wanted them. Therefore, it was somehow having this weird side effect where it looks like it's pushing me to the side, which is not what I wanted. So it had nothing actually to do with any kind of collision whatsoever. It was all to do with the constraints. So Innocent Broker is asking if I suggest I set up a Discord. I do have a Discord. It's from Patreon. So if you are a Patreon subscriber, just for $1 Patreon, you get access to the Discord. On there, people will chat to me, share their progress, bug fixes, things like that. And it's quite cool. So yeah, that's all over on Patreon. Dear. Right, so I've got this moving down issue, and I have no idea why the hell it'd be moving down. Is it because my velocity is turned to -1? What if I abs this one? Because a negative velocity doesn't make much sense, really. Oh. Hey, it's only gone and bloody done it. Sweet. Okay. So go up and over. So to go down, up, and up, and down. When I hit the floor, I want it then to go that way rather than to get stuck. So that's the next problem. Okay, so we're going up just fine, going down just fine, but when I hit the floor, I'm still holding down S. I should be walking away from it. Okay. So I need to detect when I'm on the floor and tell is climbing to be false. So what I could do on the ladder here is actually have okay, I've got an idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a box collision at the bottom of the ladder and a box collision at the top. So when I enter the bottom collision box and I'm climbing on the player character, we're going to tell it to turn climbing off. So let's add a box collision. And we'll go foot of ladder. And just go that into position. Like so. And then we have another box collision for the top. So top of ladder. And don't want that to be a child, I want it to be separate. And this one's actually going to be changed based on the construction script. So when I'm generating the climbing volume, I want to get the top of ladder, set relative location, and the relative location is going to be the height of the thing. So it'd be ladder height multiplied by 53, that's the height of each step. And split that like so. Oh, got to add one to it. Add. And there's our exit. Okay. So I'm just going to raise that up a little bit more. So let's add 4 to that one. Like we did with earlier. Okay, we'll have that. It's not pretty, but it'll do. Okay, so when we enter this volume, the bottom starting volume, that's the change. So rather than begin volume on the climbing volume, I want to begin overlap on the foot of the ladder. So overlap, begin overlap, and goes into there, and I'll delete that. So when I enter that first starting of the foot of the ladder, it is going to cast the first person, do that, and actually I'll want the other one as well. Let's do the other one as well. So if I climbing volume, the original one we had, because I'm thinking if you'd manage to jump onto the ladder, you won't be able to climb it. So that should still be okay to have that on there as well. Other actor go to oh, I can't do 2. Ah, shit. Okay, well we'll do it as 1, a starting point, and then we'll worry about the other one later. Okay, so foot of the ladder, it does the same thing. Okay, I'll just give it the constraints for now. Okay. Right, so if foot of ladder on landed event, I don't know if on landed event works in flying mode. We can give it a shot. Let's do a print string. Let's just turn this back to what I had originally then. Someone in chat just mentioned, I'll quit him actually, who was it? Innocent Brucker brought up the idea of using the on-landed. I think the on-landed one only works on walking, but it may work on flying. I don't know, because UE4 documents are kind of useless. So, like for example, I say hello if I jump, but if I go up here and back down, yeah, see, it doesn't work. I have to like walk away from it. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, it has to be wait until I turn away from it. So no, online doesn't work. I have to do it the original way that I was going to do it. Okay. So, foot of ladder, begin overlap. That'll go there. Actor go there. So, and we're done. So when we enter the foot of ladder, it do the normal stuff we usually do. However, if we enter the foot of ladder and the ready climbing is true, so if we do that and get is climbing, put that into a branch, like so. And if it's false, we'll make it true and do the normal stuff. But if it's true, that means we're already climbing. Then I want to turn is climbing off. Okay, and then set it back to falling. It goes there. Target is catch movement component and fall in. Okay, let's see what that does. Ooh. By George, I think he's just gone and done it. And that works. So I'm going up and I hold down S, and without doing anything extra, I hit the floor and I walk away. If I hold on up, I keep going. Yeah. By the way, the box collisions are there. You just can't see them because they're hidden in game. We didn't turn to go off, but climb up. Climbing down though. Kind of float down though. So what we can do then is do something with the top component. So the top component, when you walk into it and is climbing is false already, will make is climbing true and stop your velocity. So we can go to this on added stuff. On ladder. Okay, so we've got this part down. Right, we're going to do the top of ladder now. Begin overlap. Hello, overlap. And on begin overlap on the top ladder. So what we're going to do here is when we walk into the top of the ladder without having climbed it first, we're going to tell its velocity to stop and then turn climbing on and make it so it climbs up and down. And hopefully that will work regardless of us looking at the ladder. So top of ladder, I mean different games do this different ways. So some games you can't do that. You have to look at the ladder. Some games make you just fly off of it. Yeah, that would be a mixture based on your own game design. Let's have a look. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. I see a lot of conversation going on. Let's have a look. Place to place. Working on main menu first, or do you make the game first? Make the game first. Menus come last, in my opinion. Unless the game is all based menus. Do the game first. Thanks for the kind words, Mist. I'm glad you think I'm good. Okay. So on begin overlap on the top of ladder, we are going to cast then to the first person character. Check if it's the player. If it is the player, we want to find out if they're climbing. So go is climbing, get and put that into a branch. So if we're not climbing, okay, so if we're not climbing, that's when we want it to start climbing. So we can go set is climbing to true. And let's see what that does before I add any more extra stuff to it. So if I go up the ladder and then go down the ladder, don't think it did anything. No. That's because I didn't change its mode. So it's climbing, and then we want to get its character movement and make it flying. I think it's important to also realise that as good as people say that I am, it's good to see people make mistakes. Makes things far more realistic. No game developer is perfect. No, that was useless, wasn't it? What's going on there? Go into it. May have to forego that. I'm trying to think what games do. Griffin, wondering how this all ties into AI and NavMesh. So AI, that is using animations and root motions and things like that to create the AI to do this sort of thing, and they have a nav link up to a ladder, and the ladder then tells it to do the climbing animation, and the animation is a root motion, so it kind of forces them up the ladder. So that's how that kind of works. I say I want to do a series on third-person climbing ladders and things like that, as it does involve a lot of animation stuff. Right, I don't know how to approach the top of the ladder because I'm trying to think what games typically do, and I mean some allow you just to run off the edge like this. I'm trying to think what other first-person shooter games do. Any ideas? What kind of, I can't think off the top of my head. What do first-person shooter games do with the ladders when you're at the top of the ladder? I can't recall for the life of me what they might do. I know some of them have canned animation, so if you get to the top of the ladder and you want to climb down, it'll can the animation down. But at the moment, it's not a big deal if it doesn't work. It'll do anything. I would force you off the ledge. Oh, pardon me. I think that's fine as it is, but I'm just going to go onto the ladder body and get rid of the collision of it as well. Remove collision. And just play. So now I can climb without any issues with the stuff there. But yeah, this, are we happy with this? I don't know. You tell me. What are you happy with this? So the push E to interact with the ladder, they usually will be an animation based movement. That's how a lot of games do it, with the animation route, which will be part of that series I do. They usually force you to turn around and climb down above a certain height. Yeah, maybe if they turn around and face the same way as a ladder. If you want to find out if you're facing the same way as a ladder, just so you know, if you're overlapping the top of the ladder, like so, if I disconnect all this, you can get the world rotation of the player, actor. get rotation rather, get rotation. And dot product. And if you get the rotation of this actor, which is the ladder, like so, this gives you a dot product. So if I push to print string this will give you a negative or positive value based on what way you're facing, or how similar the two vectors are. So that was negative because I'm facing the opposite way, but this way I'm facing the same way. You see it's positive. So that way you can work out if you're facing the right way of the ladder. Oh, I'm stuck. I don't know what that was. So we go up. You see it's negative, and then face the same way, positive. So you can use that to kind of work out how to do something like force it to turn around and do something thing. I mean, what we could do if no, I think you do need an animation of some kind. I don't have animations on me in this project to be able to achieve that. Like for example, we could do if above above 0, so float above 0 into a branch and into there, true, will go up to here. So only activate this sort of stuff if it's true. Are you facing the same way? Facing the opposite way. So I want it to be the opposite way. It's less than 0. Okay. So for example, if we go up here, that's fine. But then I have to back myself up on the thing. But it's not going to let me because I can't move backwards. I think I need an animation of some kind. I think for now we have to leave it as it is. But it's from this point where you do the animation, or in E to interact and then animate, and it'll put you into that position. I think you need to be able to put the player into that position. So that's an animation of some kind to do that transition, which I don't have, so I can't do that tonight. But we have a ladder, so goal accomplished. I mean, it's a working ladder, but as I said, it is adjustable. So for example, let's just hide that box collision now. We don't need it now. Go in here, climbing volume, make hidden game. So to show you how this works, I can then put another ladder here, and just put that there, and I change the height of it in this variable like so. Like that. And or I can then put a big one right there. And make it go up. Oh, too high. Like so. So you can make ladders of varying heights quite easily. Go on, up you go. Why won't this do this thing now? And you turned it off. What? What did I change? Nothing. We didn't do anything with this. No, it's nothing. just being silly buggers? Yeah, it's just being silly buggers. Okay. So you'll be able to climb and make ladders of varying different heights quite easily. Like so. Cool. So yeah, you can make loads of ladders. Here I can make a really long one. Whoop. Oh, have I crashed the system? While we're waiting for that to catch up, let's see what people are saying. Do you have any plans for Halloween tutorials for Unreal 4? No plans actually for Halloween based tutorials. A witch flying on a broom and ghost lighting for Halloween. I mean, I may throw up a couple of videos for Halloween. I don't know. We'll see. Depends on my busy schedule. Yep, you can also do it that way, Griffin. That's totally fine. I find the way I just showed you is a lot simpler to explain to people. But you could do that. You can get the forward vector, dot it, and yeah, do all that. It's a long-winded way of doing it, but yep. You have some non-ladder questions. Yeah, you can quickly ask some non-ladder questions there, Kim, if you want, as well as anyone else. Go ahead. I take it, Griffin, that you're a mathematician. You like a bit of maths and circles. Yeah, so this long one here, let's just test this out. It's a bit of a crazy one. So you kind of need it up against something because I've turned the collision off on the objects. Might have to turn it back on just to test this bit. There you go. And up we go. What's the difference between rotation and direction? So rotation is the orientation of something in the world space, whereas direction is which way it's facing. So a direction would be a vector that is normalized. So normalized vectors are basically values that range between 0 and 1, or -1 and 1, really. So a direction, it can be given to you in a vector format, whereas rotation isn't necessarily a vector. It's a complete different thing, and we just call it a rotation, and it's just a way of describing the pitch and yaw and roll of something. So the best way of doing it, if you want to get which way something's facing something, you can best use direction, and you can get direction from a rotation. It's just a simple rotate from X vector or Y vector or Z vector, depending on which way you want to calculate it. Most of the time we use X vector. So if you go into the first person character, by default, a lot of stuff relies on X vector being forward. So X here is the forward vector. So if you're calculating rotations and you want to do a direction from a rotation from X vector, that's going to treat X as if it's forward, which is 0, 0, 1. No, 1, 0, 0, sorry. I think you missed. Also, what will I do on my B-Day stream? If you guys don't know, I've got doing a birthday stream. It's my birthday on Wednesday, the 16th. Is that Wednesday? Might be Thursday. I don't know. Days kind of blur together now. But it is my 32nd birthday. And I thought I'd spend some time with you guys for supporting me and doing this whole endeavour. So I'll be just playing some Xbox. I'm to hook up my Xbox, play some online games, probably play a bit of Apex, play more of that map they released. I haven't played much of it. So I want to have a crack at that, and by all means I'll have the chat open, we have a chat, and just chill out, have a good fun birthday, a couple of hours doing that. It is a weeknight, so we're starting at 10, a bit earlier, because I've got work the next day, sadly. So we're doing that, but don't forget we also got the 5 hour, maybe plus, long 2-year anniversary stream of the channel, and that's happening on the 30th of October. So the 30th of October we'll be doing a 5 hour long stream, an hour each to each section. So we've got 5 sections. So the 4 sections are the weekly rotation of live streams we do. So one like this, where it's a live tutorial, question time, and then a making the zombies game we're making, and finally a case study. And then we end it off with a 1 hour deadline for me to try and make a game within 1 hour, with no prior prep. So we'll see how that goes. But that'll be a way of celebrating the stream. During the stream, I'll also be doing up a load of promotions and some giveaways, hopefully, to showcase and celebrate the channel. And what else we got? So what's coming out next? So at the moment, Patrons have got the start of a new series called a Shopkeeper series. We're making a shopkeeper, so you can spend in-game currency. That's great. We've got the more videos coming out for the Shooter AI series for the public on YouTube. So that will be coming to a close within a month, because 12 episodes in total. So we're getting close to the end there. We've got some other side videos as well. There's quite a number of them. Talk about lighting and some material stuff and going forwards. And patrons can look forward to more of the Shopkeeper series and some other odds and sods videos. I've got a new video coming out, which is an interview with an actual game developer who's released the game, asking them questions about their process, experience with the project, and also some technical things like how they solve certain problems and what they did for textures and modelling and all that sort of stuff. So I've got some interviews coming out soon for that. I've just got to finish editing the video for that. So that's quite cool. So I hopefully do more of those and do more interviews with indie developers and get their experiences shared with you guys, because I feel it's very valuable to get other people's experiences shared with you. So basically peek behind the curtain and see that it's not all just magic that makes these games come out, but a lot of hard work and trials and tribulations, much like you saw tonight, just me banging my head against the wall against certain problems. Okay, so before we sign off today, if you've got any questions you want to ask, chuck them into the chat. I'm going to go through briefly what we did and how we did it. So I make a ladder component actor, and the actor component had 2 types of meshes. We have a ladder mesh, which is the step, and the top cap. Now in the construction script, we had 2 functions called generate ladder mesh and generate climbing volume. In the generate ladder mesh, we've got a variable called ladder height, which is editable and allows us to edit in the actual engine. We put this into a for loop, and we simply just add a new static mesh of a ladder step on top of each other. And the way we make it on top of each other is we use the index times by the height of each step, adding it to a relative transform. So it adds it up and up and up and up. At the end, when it's completed, it's adding the cap and adding it on top of the mesh by using the ladder height, adding 1 to it, and giving us the steps. Okay, so that's the first thing it does in the construction script. After that, it generates the climbing volume, and that simply just gets the volume and takes the height of the whole ladder and finds a middle point and sets the volume into the middle, and then scales the volume to be of a certain scale, and that scale will be the height of the just over the height of the whole entire ladder. After we've done that, that's the construction script. So that generates the ladder itself and allows us to edit it inside the editor. In the event graph, we have the foot of a ladder component, which is a box collision at the foot of the ladder. And when we overlap that, we're getting the player character and finding that is climbing variable, a boolean that we made. And we're making it true or false, depending on whether or not we are currently already climbing. And if we are climbing, we're going to change our movement mode to falling. And if we are not climbing already, we're going to be setting our mode to flying. We set our mode to flying so we can access the Z values in our movement. And we set the mode to falling so it can sort of auto-calculate whether it should be falling or walking based on what it's doing. When I end the overlap with the actual climbing volume, we turn the climbing off and we change the volume, the movement mode back to falling. And we did have constraints on, but they were proving problematic, so we turned them off. So that is kind of null and void. We can get rid of that. And this was some experimental stuff. So, and that was it. On the ladder side of things, on the player, we recreated the move forward code. So at start of move forward, we done it is climbing to check whether or not we are currently climbing. If we're not climbing, it's just normal movement as such. Okay, nothing new there. If we are climbing, we're getting the movement component and whether we are moving forwards or backwards. If we're pushing forwards, we want it to go up. So if we're moving forwards, we're telling it to move closer to its object, the ladder, and make it go up. And the up is being worked out by just changing the world direction to the Z value to use only the Z value and Z axis, sorry. And we're taking the move forward component, taking the absolute of it, basically gets rid of the negative, it makes it all positive, and we're timesing it by the velocity. So we move up or down, so when we are not moving up or down, it stands still, and when we are moving up and down, it keeps moving it in the correct direction. Velocity, if you don't know what velocity is a direction and a speed put together. Once we've got that, that's pretty much it. It kind of just works. So we can now place ladders wherever we want into the world, and they work. And we can kind of just change what they want to do. Trust me, not to work on the first one I got up to. There we go. So a few bugs, a few kinks, but it's late. I'm tired. We're going to end it here. So yes, any questions, leave them in the comments. We'll go through them in the chat. We'll go through them in a second. Just want to showcase some bits and bobs here. Okay, so we go up. We can go down. And we can climb off the ladder. Ladders. Done. Right, let's see what chat's saying with some questions. Kim's asking, here's a montage which plays a jump animation. However, when he presses it again before the jump animation finishes, it plays it again. Is there a clean way to stop this from happening without using a boolean? Variables all over the place. Yes, you can check if a montage is playing. So there's a node called is montage playing, and you just say which montage you want to check if it is playing or not. And if it is, do something else or ignore it. Thank you, Mist, for your kind words. Kim, I use root motion to play a jump animation. After it finishes, the character returns to the original position. Is there a way to stop this? It depends on the animation. So if you are a root motion, okay, the character returns to the original position. Do you mean its idle position? What kind of position do you want it to return to then, Kim? Be interested to know what you want it to turn into. Griffin, move capsule to mesh root location on land. Oh yeah, you could. Yep, you could move the capsule of the player to the root location on land. I was thinking about doing something like that earlier, but yes, you totally could do that. Some suggestions for tutorials, yeah, by me, some suggestions would be great. I'll add them to my Trello board. So a battle pass tutorial would be great. That's a not too difficult one to do. That is just simply a value, an XP system basically. This is not a dynamic system from Russian education. What do you mean by dynamic system? Because do you mean in-game, doing something with an in-game stuff like that? I sense when people say word dynamic, they do a lot of different things with dynamic. So by that dynamic, do you mean like picking up the ladder and putting it back down? If that's the case, you can do that. You have to code in extra stuff, but basically all you want to do is store the ladder height value. So when you put it back down, it regenerates the ladder that height. That's all we got to do for that. But interesting to know what you mean by dynamic system. I can give you some advice on how to go forwards with that. Thanks, Mist. I will do. So Kim, you want to keep it. Say you want it to stay in its new position, but when the animation finishes, it moves back to the original location. Right, it sounds like you haven't got root motion enabled. So you have to enable root motion on the montage, and you have to enable root motion onto the animation blueprint as well, so it moves it to and keeps it in its location. I don't think there's one currently with me for here, so I'll just make one quickly. So on the animation blueprint, you have over here root motion. You want to change that from root motion from everything. Make sure you got that enabled as well. Try that and see how that turns out. But if it's snapping back to its original location, that means root motion wasn't enabled correctly. Something's gone wrong there. Make sure it's actually got a root to it. If you've downloaded the animation from something like Mixamo, they don't always have a root, therefore it can't calculate root motion. Therefore you have to add a root to it, which is a whole process in itself. Yeah. Anyway, I think that'll do it for tonight. Thank you very much for everyone for joining me. Sorry about the kerfuffle in the middle of the episode. We're trying to figure stuff out, but hopefully you enjoyed watching me squirm live in front of you all. But thanks very much for watching. Hopefully you learned a little bit of something or anything at all. I always hope people learn something from these videos. Oh, wait, Kim's got one last question. When I jump in order to do the physical movement, I get access location, forward vector, multiply it, and then add them together. It moves, but can you think of a better way of doing this? I get a physical movement, I get access location, forward vector, multiply it, and add them together. It moves them. You can just give them velocity and launch them in the air. There's launch character, for example. So there's this launch character node here, and there's launch velocity. So if you want to go forwards in a certain location, you go X like by 20, and then Y. Like I'll do it very quickly for you. Hang on. So this is the first person character. So let's do it on F key. So when I push the F key, it's going to launch the character forwards X and Z 20. Let's do X as like 400. And make it override both of those. So when I push the F key, you get more welly. Hang on. Go 200. I did it. Kind of launched me that way. Direction, launch velocity. You want to get the first person camera. I'll just drag it from here. Get rotation. Get forward vector. Split that. And you want the forward vector to be add 400. No. Yeah, hang on. Launch velocity is that X and Y. Don't want X and Y to be override. We want that to be, I think. I can't which way around it goes now. Yeah, it's something like that. So you just need to mess about the launch velocity. But yeah, multiply it. Yeah, multiply it. So multiply it. Vector by vector. Do 400. 200. Let's give it a bit more welly actually. Let's go 600 there. Let's go 1000 there. There you go. So yeah, kind of does that. You just need to mess about with these figures to get there, but you get the gist. So launch character is the one that you really want, because it does what it says, it launches a character. Anyway, well, I'm going to go because I'm really not tired. So good night everyone, and thanks for coming by, and hopefully you enjoyed this episode. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed thus far. And if you want to watch loads of videos before anyone else, head over to patreon.com/Ryan Laley, where you can watch about 2 months worth, maybe 3 months worth of videos before anyone else, plus many other benefits like our Discord channel, as well as behind the scene videos and special release videos as well. Thanks for coming by, and good night everyone, and God bless.